Since 1971.
Correct, yes.
And this is your last.
It is the last one.
Championship.
Yes, I'm afraid age is catching up with me.
It's going to be a rather sad moment for you.
It's a very mixed emotions today. I've enjoyed all those years. It's still looking forward to the racing, but at the same time, it'd be nice to stop racing around the country.
You've been judging all that time?
Not quite. First race in 1971 at Manchester was really because my friend Reg Ward had managed to secure sponsorship from the Daily Telegraph, and he had got. He asked me to join the judging team because I was doing some local judging. So that was my first year. But for looking back on the records, about 3 years after that, I was actually chief commissaire of the national championships. I think probably because I was the only senior qualified commissaire at the time. And then from then I then moved back into the judging, and we've done it almost as a family affair, funnily enough, since then.
How long has Andrew been?
Well, Andrew has been with me for over 20 years, and before that my daughter Alison was doing it, so she did quite a few years as well, so it's been quite a family year for quite a number of years actually.
How has the championship changed over the years? Because I look back and I see those huge crowds. You still get a good crowd here.
Oh, we used to have some enormous crowds, particularly at Sutton Park, because I think it became a fixture at Sutton Park for 20-something years. And I think that people anticipated it was there and came to watch it. Plus the fact it's in the Midlands, good base for a lot of people to travel. But in those days, it's funny because we talked about limiting the senior race. It was mostly in the early days. It was mainly just a senior race. We talked about limiting that to 80 riders then. Now we're talking about the youth race, 140 or something like that. Now it's a whole different ball game. I wonder on some courses whether it's too many.
Yeah.
I think it is too many. I advocated 120 a couple of years ago, and I think it's 140. There were complaints, for example, at Gravesend. I know that Chris Young pulled out of the race there and said that he just couldn't get through the field.
Yeah.
So I think there's got to be some limitation, but it's nice to, I suppose, more riders, more money to put the race on.
What about the actual championship itself? Do you have ones that stand out?
Ones that stand out?
Because you had Chris Reggett, I think, rode.
I did, yeah, Chris for some time, yeah. No, I think the Atkins era was my era. He's a brilliant rider. Just seemed to float over the mud. He never seemed to sink in the mud at all. World Championships at Leeds, of course, with Roger Hammond, was out of this world. That was fantastic. And actually, interestingly, from a technical point of view, there we talk about transponders now and lap times and things like that. We actually produce lap times manually for every rider at that championships. It was a good performance, and we actually had. It was funny, actually, just going back to that one, that we had. I was asked how many judges I needed, and I said about 6. And I think we finished with about 15 because we had runners to the television and all sorts of things. We had a fantastic photocopying system there, and my third child was on there whacking the results. Well, he was on the computer producing the results, So it was an outstanding one. But some of the nationals, particularly, I go back to the Atkins era where he was dominant. Recent times, there have been some
favourite venues. Sutton Park was always a favourite for many.
Sutton Park was all right, but towards the latter end of it, a lot of people said that it was the same. It was only variations on the same terrain and same conditions. This, I think, has been one of the best in terms of the organisation. The organisation has been fantastic. Other venues.
Circuit for them as well.
Other venues.
How far around the country has it gone over those years?
Well, we've been to Crystal Palace certainly, and.
So it's been as far down as London.
Oh yes, it's been down to London.
Well,
Southampton we've been to. That was another epic day. That was one of the few when we had an incident with a spectator.
Yeah.
We've been to. If you go onto the national trophy, we've been all over the place, from Swansea to Exeter to Gravesend this year, London, right up to this end of the world, Gateshead, and we've all, it's been a widespread travel.
Still to go to Scotland though, yeah?
Next year?
Yeah.
It is. That's secret.
And finally, when the whistle finally goes or the flag drops, you drop the flag on the elite men. Are we going to see you at any other cross race? Are you going to be tempted to?
I'm hoping to come. I'm hoping to come and see some. I'll almost certainly be at Derby,
Yeah.
which I believe is still on the programme next year. But a lot of them, you know, I've got to think distance.
Yes.
I stopped it because of the distance. I don't want to just go and watch them. It would be nice to go and watch them. Whether I go and watch some local ones, I may well do that as well. But
I
won't
know
be giving up.
you have-
Cycling won't be giving up.
I was going to say, you have been judging and doing other things and commissarying, etc. in other events. What else do you do within cycling next?
Well, I run a very successful local community cycling club, and that is going from strength to strength. You know, it's for the newcomer, the older person who looks at the other cycling clubs and says, I can't do that distance, and they look at ours at 30 mile max and say, oh, I can manage that. And I mean, it's going. In a typical week, I can get 3 new enquiries for membership. Last week, on a sort of coolish Saturday, before I went to Ipswich, I turned up to collect some trophies actually, and there were 31 people turned up. It was just for a Saturday ride on a coldish morning. So what we're going to get in the summer, I don't know. Otherwise, it's a bit of work to do around the house.
Well, you're never going to be. I think when people retire, they're always busy.
No, well, I once saw a very truism, is because it happened, I know, to my boss, where if you haven't got an interest outside work, retire, you could be dead within a year.
Yeah.
You know, I've got far too much stuff. I can't die. I've got far too much stuff to do.
You've got all that responsibility.
Yeah, I've got a lot of responsibility.